consciousness. One day where we were talking over that intro, but then it actually didn't play.
Oh.
Yeah. So maybe
That was a
it's
good
going
day.
to jump in midway through the sentence and people will be even more confused.
Maybe.
I know I am.
I'm also just going to go ahead and say we recorded this one before and then the audio didn't work. So
No, I don't remember that.
if Tony and Tom seem less interested than normal, that's probably why they've heard everything.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
All
And
over
plus
again.
I'm going to reference it at some point. So that's
Okay.
we'll just get it out of the way.
Scene.
Yeah. We did, right before we got on here, though, Tom had an intriguing idea where he would talk and then not have audio, and then we can try to voice over for him.
You
You
ready?
want to do that? Let's see. 8 syllables. You ready?
Okay.
Right. Tony is a sack of garbage. No? Tony didn't like it.
Tony, I really didn't say that. That wasn't me.
Oh, brother. All right. Well, hey.
So he had control over that. Is that what we just saw?
Yeah, he did.
So did he have control of the
He's directing.
audio last week?
He said there were levels, and I do believe him.
Mm.
I know you're going for the wedge that could split the team up right off the bat, but
Yes.
we're not going to. I'm going to side with he did the right thing, and there was just a mistake. Because there was
convinced.
another show last week that also,
yeah.
separate issue, or separate show that had the same issue.
You know, I will throw brick bets only if I feel I could go sit over there and do it as well or better. Otherwise, you the man, Tony.
That's right. I'm in control.
Yes.
I'm in control.
Yes.
Different kind of control is what I'm thinking, but okay.
Proceed with the episode.
All right. I'm ready. Season 2. Okay, so today we've talked a couple times in the past about like the Fermi paradox and some different like UFO cases, but we didn't really go into detail. So today I'm going to talk about some cases that have happened in history, maybe not even like what you would traditionally think of as a UFO, but cases that there seems to be like a lot of proof or a lot of interesting facts about it, where one of those, it's like, okay, maybe it's not the aliens, the old little green men like trope, but there's something there.
Yeah.
And I was going to start with one of my favorite cases, a case out of Brazil, a little fishing community called Colares, and it's the red X on the map there. That is kind of in the Amazon, like the coast of like the Amazon portion of Brazil. Again, little fishing village. The case itself is the Colares UFO flap is kind of a nickname for it. 1977, orbs, and some say crap, but mostly orbs started showing up around this village, 7,000 people, coming out of the water and were terrorizing people. The locals reported being burned or they thought they were being like stung or having like actually like blood taken from them. They started giving the nickname Chupa Chupa to these lights, which suck. If you think like of the Chupa Chup suckers, that's literally sucker.
Yeah.
So kind of like a vampire thing. And there were so many people that were reporting issues that it started showing up in newspapers, which I think, again, we sent these last week. Got a couple of like shots of newspaper. Montages here, or montage, whatever. Collages is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
At first, it was like kind of attributed to mass hysteria again, but a local physician, good luck with this, Valide Shashim Carvalho.
That's right.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
He is in charge. These are, I assume, pictures from her clinic. So she actually started treating dozens and dozens of patients. Some reports were hundreds. But I think the low end was at least 40 people came in, and they did have radiation burns. They did have puncture wounds. They did have injuries consistent with what they were talking about, being burned, being, again, they thought blood was taken from them.
Yeah.
Some of the patients had anemia. Like they actually did have missing, like I forget, iron from the blood or whatever. They did have red blood cells. They were missing that, anemia, and had like severe fatigue from that they did have to be hospitalized.
Is there any indication when you say orb, how large? I mean, is there any report on, like baseball size or anything like that?
I kind of got the impression, and the bulk of this I heard about probably 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, baseball, maybe some of them a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Small enough that people would say they would find them in their houses. They could kind of go through the walls.
And what, they're just going around with teeth and just biting people?
They said it was like a light beam or something would come off these things, and allegedly could kind of stun or tranquilize or paralyze, and then would take samples if that's what obviously if that's what was actually happening. But it created so much hysteria in this town that residents started banding together, like staying together, vigils, like in a church or in like somebody's house, just for protection in numbers. And there'd be stories that somebody, it was their turn to go to sleep, and one of the people watching would, like in their house, would go check on them, and they'd be asleep, and there'd be an orb over them in the room. It's like kind of going after them when they're isolated. Other stories that they would, try to shoot these things with shotguns, and the guns wouldn't work. Some of the people allegedly said they had a kind of perceived that it was the things were almost taunting them, like almost enjoying it. Hearsay, obviously, who knows with that.
But it's I do understand the idea of hearsay if you got a couple people doing it, but you've got a village doing this.
And I mean, it was hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Another story, most of them are bad. Like their people are so freaked out, obviously, by this attack.
I would think.
That it's, again, a fishing village. Since most of these things were coming out of the water, it kind of stopped their fishing industry. People they were too afraid to go out and fish. So it had a massive impact on the economy.
And not a good one.
No, not a good one.
So that's not the kind of story you make up to destroy your community, its economy, its livelihood. That doesn't sound,
no.
You're not going to exactly profit from that story.
No, I don't think so. Obviously, we see that newspaper clipping there. I think there's another one with a young girl in the clinic, and it's kind of hard to see in the small photo, but that looks like puncture wounds there.
Yeah.
But this stuff was showing up in the newspapers, and then newspapers around Brazil, people started hearing about this story. And it was, mostly like sensational town, terrorized by vampire orbs or something like that, or even just saying it's, mass hysteria, that kind of thing. But it got so bad with people's fear and the economy that their mayor, I'm gonna have to find his name, the mayor actually called the military for help, and Brazil actually sent their air force. Their forces are all kind of together, but their equivalent, like the Air Force, came in to investigate. And I have to look at the guy's name. I tried this last week, and I feel like I can do better.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, it's broken up on 2 pages. That should tell you how long it is. Captain Uriangi Bolivar Suarez Nogueira G. Holanda Lima.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think I did do that better than last week.
That was good.
People will have to take my word for it because they can't hear it, and neither can we.
But no, we did. That's when I remember.
You guys heard it, but
yeah,
other people.
I remember that one. That was tough.
Yes, well, that's
you did well.
Very long, Portuguese naming convention. Thank you. That's Captain Holanda there in later years, and by the way, we'll just call him Captain Holanda from here on. So he came in with his team, obviously soldiers or airmen, whatever. And as it says there, brought a bunch of video equipment and cameras, video, and had, let's say 400, 500 photos, hours of film. They were there for months. Like so this has already been happening a while. The military was there for months. And his official story, basically the military's official story was that nothing happened. And whenever they brought...
And that was the look on his face when they said nothing happened. It's like, what?
That was later on. He ended up recanting.
Oh, did he?
In later life. But at that time, they said there was nothing happened, but they classified all video and photos immediately. Which, why would they do that if there's nothing there? And again, I'm not saying it's aliens. It could have been some government black project or something like that. And they're testing it on this poor village. Who knows what it is? Something happened. But it always raises speculation anytime. It's like nothing to see here.
Right.
Literally nothing to see because we're going to classify everything and you won't see it. So that was either late 77 or 78 when they did that. And then I think in 96, that may have been when this picture was taken here. He retired much later in life. And I think due to guilt or something, he said he was just being a good soldier and did the government official story, but it all was real.
Hmm.
And shortly after he was dead, I think
By natural causes.
suicide.
Um,
We went off on the tangent last time that that's a really common thing for whistleblowers. Some people,
Well, in Russia, they fall out of windows.
yes,
Yeah.
or shoot themselves in the
Yeah,
head
yeah.
3 times, or
3
something like
times
that.
in the head. Yes.
Not just Russia and U.S. Apparently that happens in Brazil and everywhere. And to be fair, like it really could have just been natural.
Yeah.
If some part of that, I'm sure, was very stressful on him his entire life and career. But it's another one, like the timing of that. And you hear that so many times in stories where, somebody whistle blows and then they are gone.
Hmm.
Even if they've literally told their family like the week before, I'm not suicidal.
But what strikes me as another odd part of this, all right, if he was covering for something that might have been experimental or military that they want to keep secret. Okay, that was how long ago? 60 years ago? 50 years ago?
50.
All right, 50
49.
years. We don't have orbs that fly around and take blood and bite people and stuff.
or do we?
That we know of.
But I mean,
Yeah.
see, if it was military equipment, it would have been used somewhere. We would have gone, that's what makes me personally go, that doesn't sound quite right. What was that?
Yeah.
Was it the overlords?
I don't know.
So with recent years with U.S. Congress having to have whistleblowers and other people come in and talk about UFOs and things like that. One of the main people there, I think it was Grush, kind of listed off the different types of aliens or species and what have you. And one of the more interesting ones was I forgot the exact term, a plasmoid. It was a sentient plasmoid, which plasmoid is the same stuff that the sun is made of. It's the same stuff that
State of matter.
lightning is made of plasma.
Yeah.
And so it is a sentient light that it's able to do or have some sort of intelligence to it. So if let's say that this in particular story is a bunch of sentient lights that decided to attack this fishing town and what have you, how would you as the government explain that a bunch of light bulb lights that were just stealing people's blood
And you can't stop them. You
and
can't shoot
there's
them.
nothing you can do with it, and maybe the best response is that didn't happen. Nothing happened. This is just mass hysteria. But then again, here's, Captain Rolanda who's like, no, it happened.
It was all real.
But I imagine that's what is at the extent of what he said. He was like, no, indeed, there was a bunch of orbs taking. I mean, there's a lot of stories of what people think happened there, right? So, was there a verification that yes, it was a bunch of orbs stealing blood from a fishing community?
Yeah, and I don't know if the fishing community had anything to do with it or just that it was relatively isolated.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to go back and look at his exact words again, but I think he was saying the orb stuff was all real.
Well, you can't
We
read
saw
them.
them,
They're
the
in
medical stuff.
Portuguese.
I can read a little bit. Very
Okay.
little.
Okay.
But we saw like the newspaper clippings. Those injuries were real. Those were documented.
Those weren't smiley people there.
No.
No.
I mean,
Yeah, that's like, yeah.
She has a-
She might be posing. I mean, that's a model.
Go to the
pose.
one before it though.
I mean, she's
Yeah, that
fine-looking
person,
young lady.
person down on the bottom left there.
Yeah.
That's not a happy smile.
Are you sure? Because
phenomenon-
they're being
Pretty
tickled.
sure.
Are you not being tickled right there? And that's not,
No, I don't think so.
Portuguese, that's the tranquilizing light phenomenon.
Oh, is that what it is? See,
mean,
there's
you-
so
you-
much
you probably-
worthy that I am.
I was going to say don't be so hard on yourself, but then it came out that way.
Yeah, I know.
So no, so our friend, former coworker Gage, like I said, 5 or 6 years ago, he actually kind of sent me a link to a video on this, and I'd never heard of this case before. And it was right off the bat. There's something. This one just felt different to me.
Yep.
There's something with it. There's so many witnesses. There's so many documented injuries. I mean, if it's mass hysteria, how are they all getting radiation burns? So like puncture wounds you can fake. How are you getting radiation? I don't know.
But
I don't know.
That's also not to say that, that you mentioned a possibility of a government black op or, something like that, a testing ground, or, and why not go to a small community that no one cares about? Because obviously after they say nothing happened, I assume that there was a little bit of a follow-up, but not much of one if they're just going to accept it as is.
Probably
right?
not. I would assume that's the same. It's the same like it is stuff happening now,
Yeah.
There's some people who will follow it, but like a lot of like the general media just lets it go.
Yeah.
And traditionally, for traditional thinking, like that makes sense on their part. There's other news things to cover, in your cycle. And in that first video that Gage had sent, it actually said this is not actually the only time this kind of thing has happened. Yeah. So, weird. And your thought, if they can't do anything about it, kind of covering it up might be like the safest thing for morale. I totally get that argument. There's some thought with like the UFO stuff happening now that the government wouldn't be able to control people or control it or prevent it or stop it. And so in order to maintain the illusion of control, they'll just not acknowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also kind of picture, if you're a bunch of soldiers, attacking a village, you're probably in there in the dark with big flashlights. So there's your source of light. And let's say you need a bunch of blood or a bunch of whatever, why not drug them, take them out, do what you have to do and proceed. I don't think it looks too different from seeing a source of light, waking up, you feel ill intent, and then, you wake up fatigued and puncture holes in you and what have you as well.
Yeah. I do remember in Olanda's later statement, he did talk about orbs and probably bigger ones too that would be flying over the village. So, and also you think in 77, like you're talking about the orb tech that we, as far as we know, we don't have now.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think publicly we knew we had that then.
Sure.
But they all talked about them free floating orbs.
Yeah, but that makes me think that by now it would be part of tech that we would be aware of. Usually tech of that era that's even cutting edge, now it's old hat stuff. It's like, nah, we don't even use that anymore.
Yeah. I did think two things I just remembered I wanted to add in. One was just interesting. So many people had a negative story or experience with these things. There was one guy, and I should have looked this up because we had the chance to do it again, but then just like the news cycle, we have other things to do, and I forgot. There was one guy that was, stunned or whatever. He was hit by one of these, and I think he had like very bad blind, almost like completely blind, very bad eyesight. But the next day, his vision was cured or fixed. So again, that's alleged, of course, as are most of these like people accounts. But that's one case where that guy actually got healed from it. And then the most fun story. I find it's all terrorizing. This would be a living nightmare to go through this scenario. But one that would also be scary that was a little more funny for listeners now is that Captain Olanda, later on, after they'd been there for months, later on, he was either in the barracks or whatever temporary like housing they had set up and was sleeping on his side and felt arms wrap around him and could like turn his head enough to see what he described as like a 4 foot tall person being in a spacesuit, hugging him and talking to him in Portuguese, saying, "You don't have any reason to worry. Everything is okay." After months of terror. And I did say this joke last week, but it's sort of like the aliens on Mars attacks. Like we come in peace as they're blasting people, like literally chasing people down in the street. Yeah. We mean you no harm.
Right.
So, yeah, that's weird.
But
I mean, the
see-
whole thing is weird, but
yeah, sure. But at the same time, it could also be a person just being like, "Hey, everything's cool. You're not gonna die here." I also made the joke that it's Marty McFly telling his dad that he's Darth Vader, and if he doesn't take his mom out to prom, he's gonna fry his brains. So instead, it's Marty McFly cuddling with you and being like, "Hey, everything's gonna be okay."
Yeah.
Maybe because, this spacesuited person, for want of a better word, wasn't of the Earth. Maybe he was emphasizing it wrong. And what he meant to say was, you don't have anything to worry about.
Now these locals,
I don't know about them other guys, but you don't have it.
you're good, Captain. Those fishermen are hosed.
Gracias.
No,
Yeah.
we'll get you later whenever you start talking about it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
20
right,
years
well-
from now.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a short little break, and when we come back, I assume Jake, you got some more stories.
I do.
for us.
Yeah. Some different varieties here.
All right. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The Colares story, I feel like people now who are kind of interested in UFO stuff may have heard of that, but the next one will be one that's more local, and I feel like a lot more people in the United States would have heard of, and that is the case of the Phoenix Lights. I know you know because we talked about it previously and are doing it
I don't
again.
know. What's the Phoenix Lights?
What is Phoenix?
What are lights?
It's the rebirth, the fiery bird of rebirth.
Oh, rises out of its own ashes.
Yeah, and I think it was named for the city in Arizona. Yeah, the desert city there.
Wow.
Yeah,
A desert city?
Which came first, the city or the bird?
I think the city.
But the bird kept coming back.
That's true. The bird may have been here before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Phoenix, old mythological creature, obviously, that
Yes.
the city was most likely named for. I don't know what else it would be named for with that.
Maybe
Unless
the
it's
Harry
Phoenix.
Potter book.
Phoenix University. Maybe that's what they're
I'm
going
Ah,
I'm going to Phoenix.
the Fighting Dental Transcriptionists.
Indeed.
But
Great ball team.
the not a very intimidating school nickname, but they get it done on the field
I'm telling
and
you.
in the chairs too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us about these lights.
Yeah, the Phoenix Lights, literally, obviously, in Phoenix, the city. 1997, there was a night where a series of lights flew over the city. And it obviously got a lot of attention from people there in the city. They were viewed from angles all over. In Phoenix, if you've been or even seen it on a map, it's known for its sprawl. Like, it is very spread out, a large metro area. And again, people saw it from all angles. The military, they have a military base on the north side of the city, and they were also doing drills that night, like aerial drills with flares. So their official story was that it was literally just flares, but the story on the ground were that people were seeing it in over their heads in the city, where flares are most likely not going to be used. And again, could see it from all angles, not just to the north. There's also an airport on the west side of the city. So another popular claim is that it's just planes on the approach you see in the distance that makes it look like their lights kind of hover. But again, people who were there said they saw them over their heads in their neighborhoods, and they were kind of in a V shape. as you
Yeah,
see in
those
that image.
other things. There's formation that I'm seeing in that picture there. That's not flares.
Yes, and even if it is like planes on the approach, like I
Not
get
like that.
they're gonna look still, but how many planes are,
That's what I
are
mean.
approaching from 20 miles away? that-
O'Hare doesn't have that
that
kind
stay
of
in that
backup.
shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the couple like interesting people involved in this case, governor of Arizona at that time was a guy named Fife Symington, and he had a infamous press conference now after it happened where he was addressing it for the state population, and actually brought out. I should have tried to look for a picture of this press conference, but he's like, I know who's behind the lights, and he actually brought out someone dressed in an alien suit, and so they made a big joke out of it. But much like Captain Olanda, he later recanted his story and said he actually did see the lights too.
Yeah, if that
Yeah.
wasn't a smoke screen, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's this guy. Call him Gort.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I talked about the annoyances of government cover-ups. That was probably last week where we can't hear it. But the stories they used to cover up things never help. It's the same as classifying 500 photos or whatever immediately. It's like, well, you're going to raise speculation. So I guess in that regard, actually just making a joke out of it, at least that's something else.
Yeah.
But he did recant his story. And then another famous person, there was a pilot who was flying into the airport who actually called it in. Can you confirm there are lights over the airport? The airport, by the way, said they did not have anything on radar, these lights. And that pilot actually turned out to be Kurt Russell, the actor.
Oh,
He's a pilot, and he was flying private with his son, and they're going to the Phoenix airport. And on the approach, he saw the lights in formation in the sky, also suggesting it's not airplanes coming in the same direction he's in if they're in front of him. So this is another one. A lot of local witnesses, thousands of people allegedly have seen it. There's no great video. The photos you saw are probably about as good as it gets. But again, a lot of witnesses. And to be fair, the things that people claim debunk them don't really sound very convincing to me. The planes and then the flares would only be in one direction.
Yeah.
Even if flares, it takes a while for them to hit the ground. They're not staying in the air for hours, which I think is the report. This thing was in the air, whatever. Those lights were in the air for hours.
And I don't know what kind of machine or person or anything could put flares in a formation like that.
I mean, I guess at the start, but yeah, do they stay there with the wind drift and everything like that? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I can't. All right. Disclaimer: I'm no flare expert.
Okay.
But
I'm with you. I'm not either.
Yeah, but we've all seen how flares work.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep 3 of them in a straight line if I tried all day. Of course, night would be easier to see that way. But
yeah,
can you?
No,
Unless you hook all the flares to a stick and maybe throw it in the air that way.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they're very high altitude, I mean, they'd probably look like they'd probably be up there for a long time. And if you're more
but something
your viewing
has to
angles
be
under
keeping
them,
it there. So what is above it? That's
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're viewing
time
from down low, then they might look like they're more stationary. If you're viewing them way off from the side, you're going to see drop in 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Not 2 hours or whatever this was.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe.
Yeah. And then again, the plane thing, people saw them straight overhead. Oh, with the flares too, people said they saw the lights over residential neighborhoods, and the military's not going to risk that
No,
for an exercise, as they claim.
Did they say it was swamp gas?
I don't know if they did that. We'll definitely get into those excuses more later.
Was that mayor reelected? Do you know?
He ended up resigning from office due to some bank fraud type stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, either way, not maybe the most credible
I was
person.
going to say, there's a good source.
Yeah. That's just of note. That press conference is so infamous with the guy coming out in the green alien suit kind of dancing around a little bit. Oh, yeah, there you go. 5-7 to the alien. It's so ridiculous. There's so many things about this. But yeah, then again, he did, for whatever credibility aside, for whatever it's worth, he did say later on, no, he actually saw it too. I don't remember if he said someone put him up to this or if he just thought it was his own way of trying to just, again, take down any hysteria.
Well, I mean, that's one way to say all of those people who are claiming we saw this. He's saying you're an idiot.
It's actually very insulting to the people that had it,
who may have been traumatized by it, or who knows.
And I will say with this, just from memory, I don't recall a lot of people being terrorized like the Colares story. I think people were more just like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
Nothing. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that reaction from the governor absolutely is, "Oh, you people are all morons."
Yeah, it's a poke in the eye.
And I'm sure a lot of people probably did think it was aliens. But yeah, just very insulting. What do you feel about this?
Well, I mean, the big trigger for me in this in particular story is that there's a military base. Yep. It's also near an airport as well, so there's at least explanations for anything in the sky, and I said it in our previous recording
Attempt.
that the government typically has technologies that they use before it's out for commercial use. They had the internet well before we had the internet.
Al Gore invented it, yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it's within your 30, 40 years. And I think that this was late 90s, just somewhere in the 90s, right?
97.
97, that so at that time, 30 years after that, which is roughly around now, what do we have that's able to replicate something that's like this?
Drones.
And I suspect that it might be drones, and they're testing out drone technology. And how do you see a drone in the sky? Well, you have to light it up. You have to see if it can do the things that it can do. To me, that makes a lot more sense. A lot, and not to discredit the people, who saw what they saw. I mean, obviously, we've got photos. We've got enough people saw. There was something up in the air. But whether or not the explanation is alien in nature, if anything, it indeed was a UFO, an unidentified flying object. But I just lean more towards it's a human thing than before thinking that it's alien in nature. To me, this seems a little bit more, at least something that I feel like I can explain, opposed to
Weird Colares.
Where
all the injuries.
So this to me just seems like there's a lot more plausibility in terms of how we could potentially explain it. And it's just the time that nobody knew to look and listen for drone technology and what have you, in the 90s.
I actually, on this particular case, a lot of cases, and this one in particular, I do tend to lean toward it probably being government, something too.
Yeah.
There, and I don't even think I thought of this last week, but I think plans have been released on the internet. I don't remember the name of the craft. It's the TR3B or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like according to what people say online, I know, but it is like a black, like V-shaped thing, which is what they said this looked like. But it's actually an inflatable, like it's a blimp, which would also be one reason that they said these lights had no sound. I forgot about that. But an inflatable wouldn't necessarily have any sound, especially if it's high enough.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't hear it. So to me, it might even be that thing, like one of the early runs, or as far as we know, one of the early runs of that thing. It's more, to me, the cases are, I can't say aliens ever, like on really any case, but it's always the cover up and just the idea that no, there's nothing there. You people are morons. Like, you're not doing yourself any favors. Like, just say it's a blimp.
Yeah.
And 90% of the people are going to be like, okay, military has a blimp.
Yeah. I'm saying it's like half a dozen teenage boys with a kite that has lights. That has lights on it.
Yeah.
Same possibilities, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned
It was at night.
Yeah. You said swamp gas earlier, which obviously one of the classic cover-ups. Chinese lanterns is another one.
Yes.
Like, how common are those, by the way?
Chinese lanterns?
Yeah.
They're all over China, I know.
I figured that.
Yeah, there's billions of
I don't
them.
know how big the Chinatown is in Phoenix.
I
Probably
don't know.
pretty good.
I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, that's bizarre.
Yes.
Like,
Chinese
nobody's
lights,
going to believe that.
I don't think so. I don't.
I don't.
All right.
Somebody
two of
will.
us.
I take that back.
We have a majority. Well, I'm just talking about this particular incident.
Yeah. Tony often plays devil's advocate, so he's probably now going to switch his to Chinese lanterns.
No.
Well, you mentioning the blimp reminded me. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story of the Battle of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a movie, but like it stemmed from
a real story,
a real moment,
like the 50s,
the 40s. It was right after, like, roughly around like Pearl Harbor.
Okay,
where people thought that they were getting attacked by the Japanese over Los Angeles, and they said that there was something in the sky, that seemingly ominous or whatever it was, and the military went in shot up spotlights to it, and there was something that was flying there, and they immediately started shooting at it.
Anti-aircraft rounds. So yeah.
Right. So they're shooting at something up in the sky in darkness, and here's a little bit of a better look of it. It's been a minute since I've read this, but like the government afterwards, I think it was hours of doing this, they said, "Oh, it was just a blimp, a strange balloon that was in the sky." But again, anti-air guns shooting at this for hours upon hours.
Isn't this the happening that Spielberg made the movie 1942 about? It was a comedy movie, but it was like they thought they were being attacked. Actually, I think it was by a Japanese submarine or a Nazi submarine, something off the coast of California. That happened. I think it was Spielberg. 1942.
Okay,
is the movie.
So I've heard of it. Don't know it. I can't.
Yeah,
can't confirm or deny.
But yeah, the result after everything, they said that it was identified as a meteorological balloon. Now, this is where I, though I'm saying for the other ones, I'm thinking it's more human, in nature. For this one, it just feels like it's so weird. It
could be human error on this one.
Sure, yeah, whatever
but if
the
it's
case.
a balloon, you feel like a flak cannon. It's probably going to shred that pretty quick.
I mean, you would assume so.
Yeah.
But this thing is just hovering up in the sky, and everyone and everything is shooting at it, and
it's kind of like they'd see it zipping around or something like that.
Something along those lines. So it's just one of those stories that always stuck with me, especially over like a major city like LA.
They're firing live rounds over a major city.
Then it's
those rounds have to come down somewhere.
Yes, they do.
Right.
Yeah.
The classic explanation of a weather balloon. Or
that's been used forever.
Right. There's the swamp gas as well, and
but I mean, wasn't that what
we had the balloon? What 5-6 years ago? We had the balloon. They shot down eventually.
The Chinese
I
one.
believe Chinese.
Yeah.
There have been a couple of them, I think. But and what was it? Area 51. They said was a weather.
They later claimed it was a weather balloon. Although the
Yeah.
newspapers reported it as an alien craft or something on the first day before they retracted.
Those weather balloons are pretty hardy, though.
I mean,
Took a missile to shoot on the last one.
Yeah.
if indeed a weather balloon is that hard to take down, why not try to militarily weaponize it?
Who says
if you
they're
can?
not?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If anything, you get the enemy to waste a lot of rounds without hitting it.
Right, and
you can
that's money,
sell
yeah.
advertising and put it on it. National headlines right there.
Oh yeah.
Why do you think Goodyear's they have their own
They
blimps
do.
and everything?
I'm sure people tried to shoot it down.
MetLife.
but
Yeah.
they can't.
They
They
can't.
just can't.
Yeah.
Bullets just so go around
Well,
it.
people don't realize blimp technology. They can dodge things like that pretty easily.
Oh yeah. I've seen a blimp.
Those
dodge.
rocket blimps.
Yes.
Mhm.
So yeah. Anyway, it just reminded me of that. So sorry about.
No, that's okay. That is, I don't know. That might be. Well, I've heard stories of other cases where like fighter pilots have been scrambled to go, check something out. In some cases, allegedly shoot at them. But that might be the only case I can think of where like the city defenses were activated.
And again,
that must have felt like Armageddon again.
Right. I mean, the fear of Pearl Harbor just being fresh on their minds. They're getting attacked again, but then Japan's like, we don't know what that wasn't us.
No.
And the military, seemingly not knowing what's going on and also reacting to it. So it could very much be a military thing in origin that there was just some communication like, stop shooting at this is us, stop.
Yeah.
Why you would want to do it over a city like LA, or again, trying to explain it with human origins is also just like, this is
Messed up.
Yeah,
Like,
and probably more
somebody
likely,
probably did mess up. Like
probably more likely, but it's also just as fun as thinking, okay, there's a spacecraft that is over a city and they we're powerless against it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's all kinds of stories of not just here, but in Russia as well, like the UFOs flying over nuclear facilities and shutting them down. Or allegedly in Russia's case, they'd actually activate the nukes and then turn them off before anything happened. But different ways of showing the power. There's stories of that, and that's coming up from government officials in like the U.S. There, was it in Montana, whatever. There was the guy in charge of one of the nuclear like military bases up there came out and said that like it happened. It flew over and deactivated all our nuclear weapons.
Scary.
Kind of, yeah, scary.
Scary if that's what they are capable of doing.
Yeah.
But I guess it's also intense because, and I think Tom, maybe it was you who kind of mentioned it. You know, if they wanted to, they would have already.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, but you know, one could also say that they're just letting us know, like, hey, you guys shouldn't be messing with.
Don't mess with that tech. You know.
Yeah,
don't weaponize it.
So, yeah, why don't we take a little break,
Right.
and we'll come back and talk more crazy UFO stories.
Yeah, a little different too when we come back. A little more peaceful.
All right.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. Big lip smack on accident there, but we are back for part 3.
Part 3. I snickered a little bit because it's been a minute since I really paid attention to the little animation that we had and the cartoon of Tom
that you made.
Yes, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just been a minute, and I just remember seeing Tom just being really, really perfectly.
Can we play again? I didn't even notice until midway through that you changed the super to UFO cases you won't believe.
Yeah,
Some people don't believe any, so it doesn't matter.
look at old Tommy there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I
you
don't know
nailed
where
it.
you got. Huh? I thought it was a terrible likeness.
By your own idea, when we were first coming up with ideas for new shows for this app, one of the ones you wanted to do was called the Curmudgeon Report. So
I deny it strenuously.
wow.
I'm not that
Curmudgeon
kind
Project.
of
Yes.
Now that I remember, yes,
Yes.
Curmudgeon Project.
That was Project.
Project Curmudgeon. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got to change the name now.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for adjusting my camera. I'm
Yes, you're just
falling below
sinking.
the super. I think it's the camera and not my chair. But a couple of times I'm like, oh, well, I guess this is one way to work on posture. Well, before the break, whoa.
Before the break.
Explosions going around, it'd be like the Battle of Los Angeles happening in here. No, I promised a less violent story, and there's one that's happening.
Boo,
It's been
we
happening.
want more violence.
We'll get back to violence.
Okay.
For you,
All right.
psycho. But there's one that has
Mr. Psycho.
Mr. Psycho. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
okay.
I didn't mean to be
For a little respect.
so informal. Yes, I
Yeah,
apologize.
see.
A case that's ongoing and has been monitored by scientists, by people for decades. Actually, reports in Norway, there's a place called the Hessdalen Valley. That's a picture of it or a painting of it. We were trying to figure that out last week.
It's beautiful.
That's just, beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, in Norway, country known for its beauty. But yeah, the Hessdalen Valley has had a phenomenon called not Phoenix, but the Hessdalen Lights that were first, the reports of them going back into the 1800s. And that consistently these things have been seen in day and night. That's obviously a couple of them in the air there. From 1981 to 1984 is when sightings peaked. And it was for that whole stretch, roughly 20 reports every week. People were seeing these things moving around, hovering, moving very fast, blinking in and out, just behaving in all sorts of different ways. Usually white, but they can change color to yellow or red. And these are still seen today. I saw a few years ago in like a hotel, I was saying like History Channel or something you never watch except when you're at a hotel. and just happened to stumble upon a feature on these. And they had footage clear, like in the day, of these lights hovering around. The last picture you saw, the kind of like strings or the streaks of light. To me, they kind of looked, the ones I saw in the video looked a little more like this. And I would say think like Tinkerbell flying around, kind of like burning, burning embers, whatever. Hard to get a scale of the distance, but they look to be pretty big. So like I said, 81 to 84, 20 reports a week of these things. Doesn't seem like they're anything malicious. These are things that kind of just exist. Sort of going to your idea of like the plasmoids, that maybe that. But some people also say it could be, certain minerals in the area that's creating like a static charge.
I was going to say that looks like static a little bit.
Yeah, but they persist. Again, some of these will hang out for hours. And the videos in that special, you'd actually see them kind of look like they're just playing, almost like tag. They're kind of playing around with each other.
No.
Sometimes just hovering. Again, different. That one, we were trying to figure that out last week, if that was maybe a time lapse or something.
Yeah.
That particular formation of the lights is used in a lot of images you'll see online. I think this is probably an artist's recreation of it. But it was clear.
If
so
that was a time lapse, the stars behind it wouldn't be as clear as they are.
That's true.
They would be blurred, or you'd see movement.
Yeah, that is true too.
Rotation.
But yeah, we were kind of trying to figure that out. That one, if you look up the Hessdalen lights, Hessdalen, you will see that formation of lights in a lot of things. So it is used a lot. But I think it was the University of Norway, their scientists have for quite a while have a camp set up in this area with video equipment. So this is something people are still seeing to this day. Now it's not as common as it was in 81 to 84, but they say now you might get 20 sightings a month, which is still a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into these a whole lot, but from what I gather, like I said, people aren't afraid of these things. They're just like a natural phenomenon. But something, again, different kind of proof. I don't know if I've ever heard of something on this scale that's so common, that is so, it's videoed for decades now.
Yeah,
I don't know that it's possible to see at this vantage point, but I don't know if it's, all at one, if that's like straight or there's different depth to it. It looks like a bunch of, like a drawing,
especially that
two-dimensional.
Yeah, scale very hard to see there.
Yeah, it's hard to tell the third dimension there.
Yeah.
That looks like two orbs bumped into each other, the Colares orbs.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe.
And I looked, Tony and I had talked about this one, and I looked on YouTube to see if I could find the specific video. Again, I think it was like History Channel or one of those, again, cable type networks. But that thing, the video was stunningly clear. It was another, like Colares, the first time I heard that, just kind of like, wait, this is different? I'd never heard of this. And that video was stunningly clear, like during the day in that video. And if I can find it, then I will, maybe link it in comments or something for this video. But again, something else, this doesn't have to be malicious. Could be government, could be natural static, but it's cool. That's really cool. And many people have seen this.
Yeah, and if you look at some of the angles there, they always, when they're talking about camouflage, snipers, that kind of thing, they say there aren't any right angles in nature.
Yes.
And you're awfully close to a couple of right angles that I'm seeing.
So you definitely have some there.
Yeah.
On that left side.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of broke it down how I would recreate this in particular photo, in which I do suspect that there's likely, if it's supposed to be a source of light originally there, it looks like that it was on a tripod and just kind of adjusted. So you can see why it's horizontal, but also has some of the vertical like bumps in there. And seemingly that is the way it is, but the background is a still frame because the stars would also do that kind of smearing stuff. You do see a little bit of some vertical lines, of the stars. So, at least that's how I suspect you would do that. And, I threw out the idea of light painting as well. With light painting, you're able to set a setting for your camera to just be a little bit slower And if you're holding a sparkler in your hand or something like that, you kind of notice that if you do it fast enough, you can see the trails and everything like that. A camera can actually capture that, and it actually looks strikingly like this photo here. That's a light painting. She likely just has like a bar of light or something like that, and she's just swirling it around and then stopping right there, and you get to see the whole trail, and that to me looks, awfully a lot like this, right? I mean, even in color, it just so happens to, have that, same look to me. So, I think that this photo, if it's supposed to be just a reenactment of what, people are seeing, like, sure.
That is not what they look like in the documentary.
Okay, yeah. Like
I said, it was more like Tinkerbell, like the burning trails.
Yeah, which makes sense. And I think the fact that that people are still seeing it and it's consistent, there's no denying that it's definitely a UFO. It's definitely something that
by its definition,
it's just currently just unexplained. And deeply fascinating as something that those locals are able to see and still have a mystery about. Like, we don't know what it is, but it's there.
They're very far north, and in that area you can see the Northern Lights. These are not part of the Northern Lights, but it could also be a related phenomenon with that. It's just that was something again. I couldn't believe. I keep saying it. I wish I could find that video. It was stunningly clear. Like how have I never heard of this? Like, it's beautiful and cool and crazy. And then if the light painting, I think that one picture, you might be right on that too. But it just to be documented so long, I don't know. I think it's just kind of its own thing, and it does for like local people here in the Springfield area. If anyone familiar with Joplin, there's a famous light there known as the Spook Light. Which I myself have never seen, but I've heard many stories of people who say that too. So there are stories of floating lights all over. There it is on our wonderful website,
ozarksfirst.com.
ozarksfirst.com. You got it, Tony.
Thanks.
Stories, in various parts of the world of like the floating orbs, the floating lights that aren't violent like they were in Colares. But this is one. And like I said, I myself have never gone, but I've talked to people who have. This particular article has these photos. And at the bottom actually has some quotes from people. I guess at this time, I assume we reached out on like social media, and people had their different quotes about seeing it and growing up with it. A lot of there you go. So you see what people say there too. Some people say it's far away. One of the common debunks I hear on this is that it's car lights, and people just misidentifying car lights. Maybe. What I would say with that, like the stories of these things floating and changing directions, like how in sync are the cars? Where the light beams still collide like that. It could be an electric phenomenon, something like that. Just interesting that there's one local, and I guess maybe one reason, or people don't make more of a big deal out of the Hessdalen lights is like, well, we don't even go to Joplin to see these. And that's like an hour away,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, just reading some of these. 1957, with my parents, a light came up the road, stayed at least 15 minutes, split into two lights. One moved around briefly, then joined back together. Eventually returned to its original destination till it faded out of sight. Scary, but not. You wanted to just keep watching.
That's some pretty good car headlight coordination. A 15-minute routine.
That's a Bugs Bunny car.
Could be.
That runs at the tree and then splits apart and goes around and then joins back up.
Yeah. And you'd mentioned swamp gas. Do you think this is like a Joplin swamp?
Swamp gas. Yeah. I mean, they did a lot of mining out in that part of Missouri. And
how many types of like studies have people done of swamp lights? Because, I mean, that seemingly is quite the phenomenon in itself.
Prevalent,
right? Yeah. Weather balloons,
allegedly,
and swamp gas.
I would also throw ball lightning in there, which could. Some people say ball lightning is also the Hessdalen lights.
Yeah.
By its like you look up ball lightning, it's also described as being incredibly rare.
Right.
So I find that weird that you can attribute that to Hessdalen or the spook ladder, something that,
Well, no, with
apparently
the
is seen
stories,
forever.
yeah, with the stories that we just had the reports that's year after year after year after year after year. Ball lightning isn't around that much. And
Hessdalen is day after day after day. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't know. There are things that they can be of nature. You can't explain them. But
I don't think that one's real.
Yeah, I remember
is that?
seeing that's a ball lightning. It's actually a video. I remember seeing.
I think we looked at that. That to me looks like a After Effects tutorial or like
it wouldn't be hard
editing.
it wouldn't be hard to recreate something like this. But I want to say I saw a History Channel or something of that likeness of doing one of ball lightnings and being like, okay, this one's fake, but we can't explain this and other one, and I don't remember which one is which or even if it's on here, but obviously a strange phenomenon that seemingly does exist and can't be explained, or it's super rare that this is but of course the stories that we're talking about here is multiple people seeing the same thing, right?
All of these stories today, lots of witnesses.
Yeah. So
yeah, interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully
we live in an interesting world where we know very little, it seems.
Absolutely that, and that's okay. Like you don't have to know everything, and that's maybe some of the people online they want to have an explanation for everything. There's so many things that we just won't. We never will.
No,
and that's okay.
Well, in answer to your question, I don't think there have been a bunch of studies about swamp gas. It always sounded to me like
maybe in Louisiana.
Well, but from Michigan, I mean, I didn't grow up in Michigan. I'm not aware of a bunch of swamps out there myself. They don't call it the swamp state or anything. But it just almost sounds to me like someone comes up with an idea that you can't go, no, that doesn't work. So everybody else goes, yeah, that's the ticket. I'm going to start saying swamp gas too. So I don't know what kind of studies have been made.
Yeah.
This was Dr. Alan Hynek who proposed it was swamp gas.
Yeah.
And
I think he's one of them involved with all the cover up.
Yeah.
Or the idea of controlling the narrative or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was in Michigan where it happened.
Yeah.
Maybe Ann Arbor. I don't remember exactly.
I just thought of I'm not going to remember the era, but it was probably 80s or something. But George Knapp, who's famous in the UFO world, also a Nexstar employee and an investigative journalist, like a award-winning investigative journalist. He, on a podcast, was talking about a case, and one of the other excuses they use is that you're misidentifying like a meteor, or a comet or something like that. But he said there was one particular case where this thing was seen across multiple states, which could be a comet or meteor, but that it landed at an airfield, went up, and then changed directions. He's like, I don't know any meteors. I don't know any meteors that do that. Kind of notorious for flying in a straight line, inertia.
Well, one thing
silly excuses.
Yeah, one thing that can be identified pretty easily is our YouTube channel, the Rabbit Hole Report. You can also see us on ozarksfirst.com, Ozarks First Plus, and of course here on the YouTube channel, Rabbit Hole Report TV.
You can also build our views, people. We are spread out on multiple platforms, but
get us up there.
Get us up there, yeah.
If you have any interesting stories or suggestions, comments, anything like that, feel free to email us at rabbitholereport@ozarksfirst.com.
Yeah.
And
give us cases you believe in. Like I chose all these just because a lot of spectators. It's pretty cool. There's something else I was going to say I just spaced on. Oh, season 2. Some people have asked about that. We kind of figure we're over halfway done shooting it. Still have a good amount. We still have a good amount of shooting left and some editing, but we are well underway on season 2.
Yep. So it is. It's coming up, and it's coming up soon. So we're excited to show you guys.
And before we, fade to black on this episode, could I make a request?
Please.
Sure.
Could we go out on the 3-shot? Because man, I thought that was way cool at the beginning.
That's some good directing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
3-shot is in this, or 3-shot is in
No, the 3-shot.
the
The
actual
wide shot,
Yeah, this is
the room shot.
that's the one.
All right,
That's the one. Let's go out on that one.
sure. For
Tony's light.
Yeah.
for Tom
Hey,
and for Jake, I'm Tony, and this has been the Rabbit Hole Report. We'll see you next time.
I like that. That was good.
Thanks.
That's so good. I really